All right, I'm going to show you how to change the strings on your guitar. I'm going to show you a little tip that will, when you do it, it'll help your guitar to stay in tune perfectly, which is really fantastic. Just to remember, usually if you're working with a vintage guitar or a guitar you're not really sure about, you might want to just change one string at a time. And that's because this guitar neck is under a tremendous amount of tension. These strings are pulling down. Picture like a bow and arrow, the way the string actually bends that bow. That's what's happening. I mean, picture there's 6 metal strings on this guitar pulling on the neck, and it's a lot of tension. So now if I'm going to release all the tension to all the strings at once, it can, actually cause the neck to make a lot more movement than you would want to at one time. Especially like I said, if it's a vintage instrument, if it's very precious and you're not sure about it, it's always safe just to do one string at a time. Now I'm going to show you how to clean the entire guitar, how to clean the neck and all that. So I'm going to personally be taking them all off at once, but you might just want to do, like I said, the one string, just to be safe. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is unwind your strings at the headstock to get some slack into the string so that you could have some room to put your wire cutters underneath there. And also, don't ever cut a string when it's under tension. That's just kind of like a pearl of wisdom and common sense. You don't want the strings flapping around all over the place. So unwind that. What I like to use for winding and unwinding your string, this is a string winder, and you simply apply it to the tuning machine, and it just makes it a lot faster, basically, a lot easier. You don't have to have one of these, but it's one of these tools that I'm going to talk about in this series that just make the job a little bit easier, and something that you should have in your bag, if you want to do a lot of guitar repair or guitar maintenance and you want to set up your own guitar. There's certain, a bunch of tools that I'll be talking about throughout this series that you want to have access to. This is a nice one. This one actually has it has a wire cutter also on it, which is really nice. So I'm just going to loosen all these up, just so I will be able to get my cutters underneath there. And again, like I said, if you're worried about the guitar, just do this one string at a time. But for the sake of this video and for this guitar, I'm going to loosen them all up, just like that. So then you're going to go around to the middle of the guitar, take your clippers, and just clip those off. And I like to leave some length on either side so that it's more manageable and just more easy to work with. And you're going to go around to each one and clip those off, like I said, right in the middle. And usually what I do when I'm getting this stuff off of getting the strings off of the headboard here, just move these out of the way so you're not scratching anything up. And you're just going to pull these out. And one by one, like I said, you're just going to toss these into the trash. Like I said, I'm just kind of trying to hold on to the other ones while I'm doing one, just to make sure that they're not bouncing around and scratching the guitar body or getting in the way in some way. Sometimes you're going to need to take this back plate off, this little tremolo plate right here. This one uses flathead screws. Sometimes you'll see some of them have Phillips head screws, but that's going to facilitate being able to take out the strings from the back from the bridge right here. All right, so I took the plate off. You can see the tremolo springs right in here, the block and the claw. And this is right where these little holes right here are right where the string is going to come through. So again, what I like to do, and again, this is a very dirty guitar because I'm going to be showing you how to clean this all up. I like to kind of make sure that the other strings are out of the way. And you're going to take the string and just push it through, just like that. And if I flip this over, you'll see it's coming right through that hole. And you're just going to pull it out. And again, toss that right into the trash. And you do that with all 6 strings. All right, so stringing the guitar. Hopefully you got a nice clean guitar to string up right now. I have these Dean Markleys, but any guitar strings that you're going to use are going to be a certain gauge number. All right, so as you can see, they're going to have a gauge number. These are 11s right here. And each packet is going to be a different string for the guitar. So you should have 6 packets, and they are going to be marked by their millimeters. And as you can see, as you're going to get thicker, so we're actually going from the first string here to the sixth string is going to be the heaviest string. So just keep those. I like to keep them in order, so just flip them over. All right, so this right here is the largest string, or the sixth string, the E string if you're in standard tuning. So pop it out of there. And just be careful when you're unwinding these. These do have a little bit of spring to them. And the end is always a little bit sharp, so you don't want that scratching the body of your guitar or the neck of your guitar. So just watch where that's going. See, that one's going on me a little bit right there. Okay, so I'm going to flip the guitar over and show you here. Once again, this is the tremolo block right here. This is where the strings are actually where you're going to put them through. And this is the sixth string. It's going to be right here. So you just take the end right there, and you're going to pop it right through here. So you're just going to push this through. So as you can see, this is a ball end, or it looks like a ring at the end there. Many manufacturers make these types of ends. You can also find Fender suggests using a bullet end, which actually fits in that hole just perfectly, like it's made for it because it was made for it. But those ball ends are going to work just as well. All right, and once again, just make sure you're aware of where that sharp end is. So you're going to pull this through. And as you can see, it's coming through the bridge right there. And it's gonna seat itself eventually right into the nut right here. So you're gonna pop it into its tuning peg. There should be a hole right there that you're gonna go through. Pull it. And now you're gonna need to put some slack in the string, and there's different ways of figuring that out. What some folks do is you're actually gonna pinch your fingers. Since we're going through this tuning peg right here, you're gonna pinch your fingers a little bit before the second tuning peg from that. So you count 1, 2, pinch your fingers right there, and about that distance is what you're going to need when you pull it tight. So now you're going to pull this back through. Keep your fingers pinched on there, pull it back through, and when you're right there, that's the slack that you need. So right there, that's the slack that you need. Another method that I use is if you pull this tight, all you need to do is to find out how much slack you need is just pull up. I'm actually holding the string with my middle finger like this, and I'm pointing you'll see a lot of luthiers do this, and I'm pointing my index finger down, and that's about, when you pull that, that's about how much slack you're going to need. It ends up being just about the same thing. What you're going to do is you're going to take the string and you're going to wind it clockwise around like this. And this is called the tie method. This is a really great method to keep your strings in tune all the time, so there's no slippage there. And you're going to actually pull this string. You moved it clockwise, and you're going to pull it. Let me make sure you can see with the camera. You're going to pull it under itself, right there, just like you're kind of tying that off. Okay? Don't get it wrapped around those string trees over there. So pull it around itself, just like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull it taut in both directions. So I pulled it taut with the string right here, and I'm pulling taut with the string here as well. And what that does, you can see it wraps it around really nice and tight, actually around that tuning peg. And after you're done with that, what you're going to do is you're actually going to take it now and wrap it over itself, just like that, to make a little, it actually kinks the string right there. Close up so you can see it better. Okay, so once you get it kinked over itself, you're gonna probably want to put your finger on here and just make sure that when you wind it, it's winding below the windings that are there before. Down kind of toward the headstock. Each one below the next. So keep your finger there just to guide it. Okay, and then you're going to want to clip it nice and close to the peg. Don't leave that too long because it might rip into your guitar case or your hands or whatever, so just keep it nice and safe. All right, if you want, you just bring that up to tune. Just like that. So with that method, what's going to happen is you can see that you create a little U in the or a little crescent in the actual string that gets pinched and locked. And you can see right afterwards, after you're done doing it, it's locked in there. It's not going to go out of tune, and you're going to be good. Once we get all the strings on here, we're going to stretch them out a little bit. I'll show you how to do that, and then keep bringing them into tune, stretching them so that your guitar is absolutely going to stay in tune, and you're going to be good, yo. So we got the A string right here if you're in standard tuning. So same thing. You're going to pull it around. Once you get the slack in there, you're going to pull it around and put it underneath itself right there. Make sure you folks can see this. And I'm pulling it under itself, not over itself, under itself right there. And then I'm grabbing actually both sides of the string right now. Make sure you can see this, and I'm going to pull that pretty tight. And then to kink it, once again, you're going to flip it over itself. Just like that. Once you do that, you just make sure you're near that, or in the nut, the groove in the nut right there. And I'm going to take my finger, and my finger is going to make sure that every groove, or I'm sorry, every winding here is going to go below the one before it. And honestly, it kind of does it itself, but sometimes you'll want to make a little adjustment there. And really the important thing is that you're locking off that string so that it will not be able to go out of tune. And you don't really need, with this method, you don't need that many windings on here. Really just, you know, a couple are enough. All right, so once you have it all stringed up, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring it up to tune, but since the strings are new, they're going to need to be stretched. And to stretch the string, all you really need to do is just grab the string and pull it. And you want to keep grabbing the string and pull it all the way down its length to be able to really stretch that out. So you're going to tune it. So I'm just going to bring this up to tune real quick. So stretch each string all the way down its length, all the way to the back, from the nut all the way to the bridge. And you're going to stretch, try and stretch each one. And if you're not worried too much about the guitar and the frets, you can even snap them a little bit to really make sure they get stretched out really well. Really stretch those suckers out. See right there, you know, it's not in tune anymore. And what you're going to do is, the more you do this, stretch them out and then get it back into tune, what you're going to realize is eventually they're going to be completely stretched out and they're going to stay in tune. So basically why you do that is it prevents you from having to retune the guitar every time you play it. When the strings are new, they're kind of sloppy and they're going to stretch out, and every time you play the guitar you're going to realize, hey, I'm out of tune again. So stretch them out in the beginning as soon as you put them on, you know, over and over again until they stay in tune, and then you'll be good, yo.